Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the K-Man 1971 back with another edition of my comic book collection spotlight series. This will be the last part, the third and final part of my videos focusing in on my minor DC keys and first appearances. Wish me luck on this one. I am like super distracted. This is like my third attempt at trying to film this video. NFL kickoff weekend, two fantasy teams going in. With great fantasy comes great responsibility. So, that was a bad one. Sorry about that. So, kicking it off, Secret Origins number 4, featuring the origin of Harley Quinn yet again on this kick-ass Lee Bermejo Joker and Harley cover. As I've stated before in the other prior videos, most of these books can still be found in dollar bins, long boxes, or at the very highest end, like $10 to $15 with shipping included online. There'll be a couple of examples of a couple of books here that are like a little over like 20 bucks, but for the most part, these are all very minor keys. So, Secret Origins number 4. Here is Supergirl number 1 from, what is this, volume 3, that features this fantastic Michael Turner cover, the late great Michael Turner. And not to sound too corny, but this cover has always reminded me of summertime. Just the color scheme alone. So, beautiful stuff. Action Comics number 471, and this features the first appearance of Faora. For those who don't remember, she was Zod's right-hand man / woman in Zack Snyder's Man of Steel movie that I actually enjoyed. So I think as a character, she still has a lot of potential in the cinematic universe. As spoiler alert, she is trapped in the Phantom Zone, so there is always the potential for her to be brought back. And I did think she was one of the more intriguing characters in the Man of Steel film. And as far as comics go, heavily underutilized, and I think she would be a great foil for, like, say, Supergirl. Give her her own kneel before Zod moment, perhaps. So, first appearance of Faora, great action comics from the Bronze Age that, once again, can be had between, like, maybe 10, 15 bucks at the most. Action Comics number 595, and this is the first appearance of the Silver Banshee. Action Comics number 775, some anniversary goodness. And this is the first appearance of Black Tom and the Elite. And I guess this book has seen a resurgence as of lately and is kind of quote-unquote hot. It's like a $20 to $25 book now. And I say that's great because this book was originally kind of hot way back when it first came out. It did get a little hype from the Wizard magazine saying that it was just a fantastic Superman story. And it was one of the few times that they hyped something and the hype was justified because this is a fantastic Superman story, man. This is probably in my top 5. I'll rank this up there with my Alan Moore Superman stories, Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, Gary Frank and Jeff Johns' Action Comics run. And I'll even throw in Scott Snyder and Jim Lee's Superman Unchained run. And that would probably be, like, along with this, like my Superman Elite zone of, elite stories. Highly recommended. I always love it when there's a hot book based on the content. Well, actually, I think it's more based on the first appearance of Black Tom and the Elite, but I'll take it. Action Comics number 835, and this is the first appearance of Livewire in the main DC universe. Love that cover, too. Action Comics number 894, and as I've stated before, some collectors out there tout this as the first appearance of Death in the main DC universe. I disagree, but I think it's a book worth having anyway, just based on, well, the appearance of Death, this fantastic David Finch cover, and I guess there are rumors circulating as of lately that they will be implementing Sandman characters into the main DC universe, which, as I also said before, if done well, I'm all for it. Superman speeding bullets. Superman's origin gets the Dark Knight treatment. Pretty cool. The Incredible Hulk versus Superman, a book technically that I should have probably put in my Marvel Minor Keys collection videos, but I spaced it out. But I think it's still alright that I throw it in with my Superman stuff. So, written by Roger Stern, illustrated by Steve the Dude Rude, who is definitely challenging his inner Jack Kirby with this book right here. And as a fan of comics, how can you not want the Incredible Hulk versus Superman in your PC? Two examples of books that are probably still in dollar bins somewhere out there, but at the very highest, like maybe $10 with shipping for both of these. Convergence #2, and the first appearance of John Kent as a baby, and Superman Lois and Clark #1, which is the first full appearance of John Kent. I also own issue #7 of this miniseries, which features his first appearance as quote-unquote Superboy, but I just didn't feel like digging it out. So like I said, you can still probably find these in dollar bins, or at the very most online for like $10. But you can also find them cheaper for $10 online too. So there you go. The Super Friends #25. This features the first appearance of Fire, who was a member of the Justice League International back in the classic Keith Giffen, J.M. DeMatteis, Kevin Maguire / Adam Hughes era of the Justice League. And for those of you that have no idea who she is, just think Human Torch, only with a green flame and female and hot and with green hair. And there you go. Swamp Thing #7, which I almost feel like I'm doing something wrong including this in with my minor keys, but you can even find this book on eBay in a very fine condition, shipped to you for like $15-20. So this features the first meeting between Batman and Swamp Thing, which I think is pretty historic, and it's also part of that classic Bronze Age run of Len Wein and the late great Bernie Wrightson. So Swamp Thing meeting Batman for the first time, illustrated by Bernie Wrightson, must have for me. The New Teen Titans, Annual #2, which features the first appearance of Adrian Chase as the Vigilante, and pretty much anything that was introduced to me via the New Teen Titans comic in the 1980s as a young kid, I just loved. So, Vigilante, I thought he was like the ultimate badass. I didn't even know the Punisher existed at this point, which is funny. And like the Omega Men, they were introduced to me through the Titans franchise, and I was really big into them for a little while too. So, good stuff, good memories with this book. As well as this one. Tales of the New Teen Titans, #1, featuring Cyborg. This is the first time Cyborg had his own solo comic. And this also features, well, outstanding artwork from George Perez, as usual. And it also contains the original origin of Cyborg. So if you are interested in the original origin of Cyborg before all the reboots have happened, here's your place to find it. Here's a book very near and dear to my heart, and you can find it pretty much anywhere for like between $1 at the lowest maybe, and $10 at the very highest online with shipping included. But this is the New Teen Titans #1 from Volume 2. Kick-ass George Perez cover, which is actually an homage kind of to New Teen Titans Volume 1, which was also done by George Perez. So this was the book that I'll always tie into when I initially found my first LCS, because I did like Titans comics as a young kid, but when you were your main source of comics was something called the spinner rack. The selection was limited, and even though you picked up one comic one month, you might not be able to pick up that same comic again for like another couple of months, and you might miss stuff, which would happen to me all the time. But here is where I finally found an LCS, and this was the comic that sealed the deal for me and made me a Titans fan for life, that made me a fan of the franchise for life. And I just remember being blown away by seeing George Perez's artwork with the better coloring and better paper. And uh, at this point, I also had access to direct comics, and B also had access to back issues. So this was the first one of the first franchises that I went back and collected a ton of back issues. So love this book, and like I said, you can have it on the cheap for the most part, or at the very highest end, $10. Sorry for the nostalgic sidebar. New Titans number 99, which features the first appearance of Roy Harper as Arsenal. Teen Titans number 37, which features the first appearance of Miss Martian. And I just think DC is missing a grand opportunity by not including characters like, say, Miss Martian, Ravager, and Kid Devil in the current Teen Titans comic. Just my opinion. Here's a book that I just picked up this year, Wonder Woman number 300, and it wasn't worth anything at the time. The only reason I picked it up is that I'm a sucker for anniversary issues, and this happened to be an anniversary issue with a wraparound cover, so I was all about it. But I never really picked up any Wonder Woman issues from Volume 1. So I picked this up for maybe like $2 or $3 earlier this year. But that was before the Wonder Woman movie hit and before Wonder Woman Mania. And now this is like, I don't know, like $10, $15 in high grade like this, as well as this book. Wonder Woman number 329, which I bought primarily for the reason of I'm also a collector of last issues. So this was the last issue of Wonder Woman from Volume 1. Another book that I picked up for like maybe $2 or $3 earlier this year, and now after the Wonder Woman movie, it goes online between like $10, $15. Wonder Woman number 1 from Volume 2, and this was the point in my comic book collecting career where I started to think that Wonder Woman actually was a cool character, and mainly due large in part to one of my top 3 favorite artists of all time, George Perez. So he did a fantastic job with this reboot of the franchise and a definite improvement on all fronts. Wonder Woman number 105, and this is the first appearance of the second Wonder Girl, Cassie Sandsmark. So there is an entire generation of collectors out there that grew up with the Young Justice comics, and they have a loyal following. Tim Drake, Impulse, Connor Kent, Cassie Sandsmark, Wonder Girl. So it's only a matter of time that I believe sometime during this rebirth era that some of these characters, maybe not Connor, but the rest of these characters make some kind of comeback to the spotlight. Wonder Woman number 164, the first part of the Gods of Gotham, and it just features this bombastic Adam used Wonder Woman cover, which is the main draw. But if people actually open up the comic, it is illustrated by Phil Jimenez, and it just features a ton of guest stars from Batman, Nightwing, Harley Quinn, the Teen Titans. So haven't actually read the story because I'm missing the second and third part. I do own this part and the final part. So very cool. Wonder Woman 164. Another Wonder Woman number 1. Wonder Woman number 1 from the New 52 reboot. And this is a run that I would actually like to get around to reading at some point. Written by Brian Azzarello, who's one of my favorite writers, along with Cliff Chang, who is a great artist. And this is a run that I've heard nothing but good things about. And when you're talking about the New 52 era, I mean, aside from, I don't know, Capullo and Snyder on Batman, Jeff Johns on the Justice League and Green Lantern, New 52 quote-unquote classic stuff is few and far between. So I would like to get to this, but unfortunately I have like 2 long boxes. Well, not unfortunately. I do have 2 long boxes of back issues that I've accrued over the past year or so that I'm just so far behind in my back issue reading. So it'll be a while before I get to this run, but it is on my long list. Blackest Night. Wonder Woman Blackest Night #1, and this is the Ryan Sook variant cover. Usually spin-offs from line-wide crossovers are pretty horrendous, but this was the extreme polar opposite of that. This was like just a fantastic little side story to the Blackest Night main ongoing saga. And it was, to no surprise, it was written by Greg Rucka, who is my favorite Wonder Woman scribe, and illustrated by Nicola Scott. Great variant covers. The standard A covers are also fantastic. They're illustrated by Greg Horn, who, as some of you may know, he has the female form down pretty well. So, and issue 2 features just a knockdown, nasty fight between a zombified Wonder Woman and Mira. So that just has to be seen to be believed. So this little miniseries, I give this the highest possible recommendation. It would have been a great standalone miniseries, but considering that it was a spin-off from a wide crossover, I even give it even more street cred. I'm not a big variant guy, so it's very rare that I go into a comic book shop and buy a variant the week that it comes out, much less a variant that I didn't even know that was coming out that week. So I ran into one of my local Newberry Comics one day, and this book was out there, just sitting there. And up until that point, I kind of forgot that the Bionic Woman even existed. So nostalgia flashback, and I bought this bad girl the day it came out. So this is the Alex Ross variant Virgin edition, I guess, of this comic, and just beautiful. I'm a big fan of Alex Ross, and I thought this was a pretty good deal, brand new. This is a 1 in 25, and I bought it for $10. So very, very nice. Nice. And I'll end it off with more eye candy. Zatanna #14. I was a little late to the party when it came to scrounging up these Adam Hughes Zatanna covers, but this is just beautiful, beautiful cover. Showing his range. It's not all about the TNA with him. He just does these fantastic facial expressions also, and just the way that his I don't know, is it like painted or just the coloring of all his covers? It just really pops. So, love it. So, that will be the end of my DC comic book collection spotlight series, focusing in on my minor keys and first appearances. Really fun, nice nostalgic stroll down memory lane. I will be back with another comic book collection spotlight series next week, focusing in on Wolverine. For a while now, I've been saying that I'm going to be doing these spotlight series, focusing in not only on back issues, but as well as classic runs, favorite characters, and favorite storylines, favorite artists. So next week will be my first attempt at that, featuring pretty much, aside from Batman, my favorite character in the comic book medium, Wolverine. It's going to be featuring my Wolverine key issues, favorite covers, favorite slugfest, and of course, favorite storylines, at least my top 5 favorite Wolverine storylines. So hopefully you'll all like it, and yeah, enjoy opening weekend for football. Hopefully you all have a better weekend than I did. I'm a Patriots fan. This team got whacked, and the guy that I'm playing in my fantasy football league scored like 70 points with players from the Kansas City Chiefs. Double ouch. So hope you have a great weekend out there. Thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. Take care. See ya.